Welcome to 3000% Voltron Love with Mel, the Mako Girl. And today, I would like to talk about the erasure of Shiro and Keith's relationship. Let's imagine for a moment. Say you're a delinquent who feels unloved and unwanted. There's no one in your corner and you're doomed to wind up in detention or juvenile hall anyway, so what's the point of doing anything with your life? A couple of recruiters have come to your school before, looking for new cadets for some Galaxy Garrison program, but you don't care. So what if you like the thought of being able to fly to distant stars one day? It doesn't matter if you do well in the flight simulator either. You're a discipline case and no one wants you. No one would waste their time. That's what you thought, anyway. But, despite this, there is someone who wants to believe in you, who wants you to give yourself a chance. It takes some time to open up a little, but you begin to want to trust this person. They become like a mentor or a big brother to you. You've never had any siblings, but you've seen others label people they trust as siblings, so why couldn't you? This person is very patient with you. They see your greatness in you you've never cared to dig for yourself. They accept you for the person you are, instead of trying to befriend you for pity's sake. You both learn a lot from each other. Hopes, dreams, fears, aspirations. Before you know it, you're an adult, and this inspiring individual in your life is prepared to leave the planet for a long mission. That's perfectly fine. But then you find out he's on a fast-ticking clock, and he didn't tell you for years as to not worry you. And it was his business anyway. He had the right not to say anything. But the reality still hurts. You find out his boyfriend didn't want him to leave. You ask what he will do, reminding him he has the freedom to do whatever he wants. He goes on the mission. Sometime later, you get the horrible news. Pilot error. You refuse to believe it and continue to keep an eye out for him. Later, when he literally crashes back into your life, you save him. It later turns out the two of you have a heroic path to embark on with something called Voltron. Throughout it all, you help the other, fight for the other, support the other. You make sure to be around in order to protect him, but only in a way that freely lets him do his own thing, and only when he's at his limit do you step in to rescue him. He's always pushing himself. The same thing you once did, just to get through life, even when you made plenty of wrong choices on purpose along the way. He's been beaten, tortured, and forced to do awful things by the same people you find out you're a part of. And yet, he still looks at you as the same person you had always been, fierce and caring, and also his friend. The both of you have changed, but the respect between you is still the same. More time goes on. He vanishes without trace. You believe he's still out there no matter what. He was the only person who never gave up on you. Your only true friend. The only family that you currently have. Then, he turns out to be a clone. You're unaware of this, but the nature of your relationship begins to take a new form. You fight to the death with him. Your confession breaks over him and clears his trance for a good few seconds, even as the two of you fall to your death together. It doesn't matter that he, while mind-controlled, tried to kill you. It doesn't matter you believe he got rid of the new friends you've made, along with the mother you finally reunited with and realized she loved you. It doesn't matter he wasn't able to say the words you entrusted with him back yet, because he befriended you and believed in you when no one else would or did. If you were going to die right now, there would be no other place you'd rather be than with him. Even with that, you choose to not give up. To not give up on trying to save him. To not give up on yourself. In return, you're rescued by him in the line you've been piloting. You find out his consciousness has been lingering there since he vanished. You've become the person he knew you could be, and you enlist his help to win a difficult battle. He gives you a good amount of his energy to do so, and in turn, he may be dooming himself to being stuck in the lion for good. But with the help of a great friend, the consciousness of the man you love is extracted from the lion and placed into the clone body you had fought with not too long ago. Despite gravity needing to pull him in the opposite direction with his arm missing, he instead purposely falls into your embrace. Not that you're complaining, of course. You hold him to you, only choosing to lay him on the ground as he sleeps. When he reawakens, he tells you he'd been dreaming and how you saved him. You tell him you saved each other. You have become even closer now. You all return to Earth in the middle of a war. At the last minute, you save him from a nemesis that nearly killed him. You cradle him again. He seems to enjoy being taken care of by you. As when in the concern of medical personnel, getting away from them to rejoin the action is where his mind is. He later shields you by combining a super robot, and you protect him as a team. And then, at the point at which your relationship should only continue to strengthen, everything that had made sense up to this point just dissipates. Without so much of a conversation of how the two of you should just be friends instead, or any kind of verbal communication, the two of you act as if you hardly know each other. Sounds very off, doesn't it? Feel betrayed or cheated out of a really powerful and interesting narrative? Because I sure did! And not solely due to being very into this pairing, but for the build-up of their story for 7 seasons to just fizzle out completely made the entire thing completely pointless. Why even tell the story at all about these two characters who had no one in the beginning to emotionally support them, but found family in each other and became really great friends? And supposedly they were starting to become more than that. I mean, why even go through all that trouble? How can you go from having such amazing build-up to just nothing? That certainly is not the result from a labor of love like VLD is, or once was. Let's think of Ariel, who fell in love with the human Prince Eric. She chose to leave her family and home to be with this man. The story is centered around her wanting to live the life of a human with him against all odds and putting herself at risk. Imagine, despite all they went through for each other, right before they get married, Ariel goes, "Nah, on second thought, let me hop back in the water. I changed my mind." And Eric goes, "That's okay. I had my eyes on this other random girl who was off screen the whole time anyway. I'll marry her instead." What? The premise of the entire story just imploded. An hour plus of an emotional investment withered away. What did I just watch? Why did I waste my time on it? And from getting so into it, if it was just going to be given an ending that contradicted the entire narrative? I can't get those same minutes of my life back. I would feel cheated and betrayed and also very confused. And that's pretty much the exact way I felt watching the entirety of Season 8 play out. And don't get me started on how dirty Allura, Lotor, Shiro, and Keith were done. And how badly Hunk was nearly dealt with. That's a whole new explanation, and this one is long enough already. So, that's my opinion, and it's been said with 3000% Voltron love.